I made some videos recently about Wanda being obsessed with British sitcoms. Obviously, they were a joke, but they did send me down this whole spiral of the differences between British and American sitcoms, and how this change would actually affect WandaVision. At its core, WandaVision is an exploration of Wanda's grief. It's not exactly subtle with it.
Parents dead, brother dead, Vision dead.
But it's also about her hopes. As someone who lost everything to war, what Wanda really wants is a sugar-coated, idealised life with the man/synthezoid she loves, with surface-level problems that can be wrapped up at the end of every day, rather than the hellscape of her actual life. It's natural, therefore, that she gravitates towards classic American sitcoms. American sitcoms are, for the most part, optimistic in nature. You'll find some that aren't, especially in more recent ones like Arrested Development, for example.
No, I'll call for a car.
Unfortunately, this was after a failed attempt to do so.
But often they present a neat world where the good guy gets rewarded in the end. The old-school sitcoms Wanda emulates feature the perfect husband and wife or nuclear family, living in the suburbs having various funny shenanigans.
What the shenanigan again?
Simpsons creator Matt Groening even claims that the driving force behind The Simpsons was diverting this expectation through an animated sitcom. But even without the perfect family, the show remains optimistic, with characters getting a relatively happy ending.
Marge, I'm confused. Is this a happy ending or a sad ending?
In contrast, British shows focus on the loser. There's no happy ending for the main characters, or rather they are few and far between, usually marking the end of a series. The comedy ends when the character gets what they want.
1, 2, 3.
And the main characters are also very different, even when looking at families. These families are often, not always, but often, working class. Our characters, even so far back as On the Buses in '69 and Steptoe and Son in '62, depict messy and dysfunctional families. But The Simpsons strove forward revolutionary in '89.
Stop it, we're British, sober, and no one's going to prison.
These styles are pitted against each other as though you can determine which one is best, when really, they're not even trying to convey the same thing. Look at both the UK and the US Office. The same exact concept, totally different tones. The US Office is even lit brighter than the UK one. But take Michael and David. Michael Scott is a lovable idiot. He messes up, but he's sincere, and that sincerity is often rewarded, i.e. he's not invited to Jim's party, but he ends that episode doing a fun duet with Jim. David Brent is much less likeable, and there is no hopeful ending for him. He is there to be cringed at. So back on topic, what effect would this change have on WandaVision? I think it would remove the element of hope, maybe even escapism from the show. It would still be an exploration of Wanda's loss and mental state, but it would be a very different part of it. By making herself the protagonist in a British-style sitcom, she'd be poking fun at her own problems. It may even look at the self-doubt and guilt she carries as she makes scenarios where she loses, over and over again. She likely wouldn't have had the perfect family to lose either.
Thanks for choosing me to be your mom.
So WandaVision, if Wanda was obsessed with British sitcoms, would be a much rawer and darker show. Even if it had the same ratio of jokes to weird shit and didn't acknowledge Wanda's real-world events. American sitcoms highlight her hope and the denial of reality. A British equivalent would be comparatively more pessimistic, trapped in a loop of never truly catching a break.